Okay, now this is regarding the Young's modulus. So we are going to see about the different types of elastic constants or modulus of elasticity. If there is only one modulus means you will consider it as a modulus. If you are having more than one means you are going to consider this as moduli. Plural form. This is singular here. This is singular. This is plural. So you are going to get three different modulus separately. Okay. So out of those three, you are going to see about the first one as the Young's modulus. So here, what is the thing you need to consider? You are applying the longitudinal stress. The stress is longitudinal, and the reaction is again the longitudinal strain. For that, you are considering this particular object here. You are applying the force. Okay. So this is the axis of the material. So along this axis only, you are applying the force. And due to that, if this is L here, okay, some 10 centimeters. Now due to the application of these two forces along the axis of the material, what you can consider here. So this is a stress applied. This is a stress here. Okay, longitudinal stress. This is a longitudinal stress. Now due to that, what is going to happen? So you are going to get some elongation. So this was the actual 10 centimeters length. Now you are going to get some elongation in the material. So now here you are going to get more than 10 centimeters. And how this particular way, in which direction it is moving here? It is moving in this direction. Whatever the force direction is there, so towards that only you are having the change. So the change or the strain is again longitudinal. Okay, so that is the reason here we are going to consider this as a longitudinal strain. Now if this is the change here, I will mark the length as delta L. Now if the value, if I consider this as some 5 centimeters or some 2 centimeters, whatever it may be, okay, and what is the total here? You will get this as 15 centimeters in total. Now if you compare here, initially it was 10 centimeters, now it is 15 centimeters due to application of stress. Now what is the change here? You will get 15 minus 10, that equals to 5 centimeters. So this is the change in the length. So you will consider this as delta L. Now how you are going to give the stress here? The stress is given as force applied per unit area. And what is the strain given as? Strain is given as delta L by L. Okay, the change in the length by the original length. Now if you rearrange this, you can write this as F by A, okay, into L by delta L. So if you can write like this, you can write FL by A delta L. So this is known as the Young's modulus. So where you are going to apply here, whenever the forces or the load is longitudinal, so there you are going to get the Young's modulus. Okay. Now what is the second type? Second type, you had seen some bulk modulus. Bulk modulus. Okay. Now you can consider this as a hydraulic also, or pressure related. Now what is the thing here? Here you are going to consider the volume. The entire volume you are going to consider. So you can consider this as volumetric modulus also. Okay. Now here we are going to give this as K. So Young's modulus is Y. So we now going to indicate this as K. So this is given as stress here. What type of stress you are going to apply? It is volumetric stress. Volumetric stress. And what happens to the strain? Stress is okay. Stress is volumetric. So here the strain is also volumetric. Volumetric strain. Now what was the explanation here? If suppose this is a substance, if this is a material here, okay, now there I had given, yesterday I had given this has some length L, okay, this has some height H, this has some breadth B. So now the volume will be given as LBH. Now if you apply forces in all these directions. Now if you consider this as x-axis here, this has some y-axis. Okay, so this is on top and bottom, on top and bottom. Okay, top and bottom. Now similarly, now front and back side here, front side towards front side here, front face, and here towards the back face. Okay, z-axis here, this is z-axis. Okay, you are applying on all the possible directions. So here this is going to give a change. What is the change here? It will get compressed. The object is going to get compressed. Okay, now what happens? This might be the diagram. For example, I am giving. Okay, the volume, the entire volume. Previously it was like this. Okay, this was the previous volume. Now you are getting a change in the volume. It is going to get compressed. If you can estimate with some general example, consider a sponge. Yesterday I had given the same example. Consider a sponge. This as a sponge. Okay, now thereafter what I mentioned here, if you consider this as sponge here, now if you apply forces on all directions like this, okay, whatever possible directions are there, if you apply, then what happens? Sponge becomes reduced. This particular volume will become reduced. Okay, the same thing here. If you apply all the forces, okay, on this particular material, what happens? This particular length will reduce. Okay, L1. Let us take this as H1. This one B1. So there is some change. If there is no change means I should write this as L only. But I am saying there is some change. So I cannot write the same L value. I am indicating it as L1. Now what is the volume? You can write this as some V1, which it is equals to L1 into B1 into H1. Some change, okay, some change is going on. So the entire volume has been reduced. Okay, so now the same thing here. If you can consider this, the bulk modulus or volumetric modulus, okay, or hydraulic modulus, okay. What you can give here, it is a force applied per unit area. So the stress is remains same here. Okay, even though you are applying in all directions, the indication will be remaining same. So what actually stress means? Stress is nothing but the load. It is a load applied on the substance. Okay, so now here in the denominator, so you can consider there is a change in the volume as delta V and the original volume V. Okay, change in the sense means you can consider the difference between these two. If you want to consider the difference between these two, okay, then you will get this as delta V. Okay, now here one important point you need to consider. Let me do one thing. So volume, initial volume, okay, consider it as V. Okay, initial volume is this. Okay, it is higher. Now due to application of the volumetric stress, what happens? The volume is getting reduced. It is getting reduced. So how much it is reducing? Let us consider some V minus delta V. There is a change. Some reduction of volume is there. Now this is the initial volume. Initial volume here. This is the final volume. Final volume. Now what is the difference between these two? Difference between these two. What you can get? If you subtract the higher value minus lower value. Subtract the higher value minus lower value. Or you can do like this. You take the final value here. Take the final value. Final value is V minus delta V. Okay. Final value minus the initial value V. Then what happens? These two will get cancelled and the remaining value is minus delta V. So here what is the meaning of minus here? You got a minus sign. Minus means there is a reduction in the volume. Okay. So as the thing is going on here, what is here? You are going to compress the substance by applying all the forces as shown in this diagram. So the volume is getting reduced. Okay, So that's why you are going to get a minus sign here. So minus means it is compression. Okay, you got the compression inside the substance. So that's the thing you need to consider. So the change should be minus delta V. Okay. Now let us write like this. So it is the stress here. Now strain is minus delta V. What is the minus sign here? It represents you are going to get the compression by the original volume. So you can write the same value as F by A into delta V. So here there should be minus sign. You need to have the minus sign here. Minus sign should be there. Minus. Okay. Into here the remaining value V is there. So it should come to the numerator. So this will be the equation for the bulk modulus. So K equals to minus, okay, Fv by A into delta V. So this is the expression for the bulk modulus. Now let us go here. Now what is the remaining modulus here? Remaining thing is, let me check once. Okay. Now here, what is the thing remaining? It is a, can anyone give the answer? What is the remaining modulus? Here I had mentioned you are having three different types of moduli. Okay. Now what is the remaining modulus? First modulus is Young's modulus. Okay. Second thing is bulk modulus. Now what is the third one? Can anyone give the answer? Yesterday you might have seen about all these three. What is the remaining modulus? Okay, are you able to hear my voice? Okay, now, so 103 said elastic, but the question I asked regarding the third modulus, what type of modulus is that? What is that? Here you got Young's modulus. So the second one I mentioned it as bulk modulus. So what was the third modulus I mentioned yesterday? No, elastic modulus. Okay, that is elastic modulus, but the thing is that you are having three different types of modulus. Three different elastic modulus are there. Moduli are there. So this is also elastic modulus. Okay, but here you are applying the longitudinal stress and you got a longitudinal strain. So this particular elastic modulus we are considering it as Young's modulus. Okay. Shear modulus. No, one more thing I had mentioned. 101 shed. Okay, shear modulus. Out of that, I mentioned one more word. What was that word? What is the remaining modulus? Shear modulus. Any more answers other than that? Particularly, I had given one extra point that we are going to see one experiment regarding the third modulus. This means that you are not writing the running notes. You are just listening. Huh? If you are writing the running notes means definitely you will get the answer directly. Okay. So the remaining thing is about rigidity modulus. Yesterday I had mentioned about rigidity modulus. Okay, shear modulus is okay, but actually I am going to consider this as a rigidity modulus. Rigidity modulus. Okay. Now here what type of stress is applied? regarding the rigidity modulus, what type of stress we are going to apply and what type of stress you are going to get. Can you fill this? What type of stress and here what type of strain? Here what is the strain here? Tensile. Okay, now what about the second thing? What about the denominator? Tensile stress by tensile strain. No. Any more other answers? What type of strain you are going to get? Now let me give one thing here. If I consider this as a material, this is a material without any stress. Okay, tensile stress. Now what about strain? Strain in the denominator. Okay, now here shear strain. Okay. Shear strain is that. Okay. Now this is the actual material without any application of the stress. So what actually stress means? You are applying a force per unit area, whatever the area is available, on that you are going to apply the force, or else you can consider the same thing as a load. Okay, shearing strain. Okay, so either you can consider this as load or else you can consider force applied per unit area. The meaning of stress is that. Okay, now here what we are going to do, we are going to apply a force on the top surface, like this. Okay, somewhat like this. Okay, now due to that what we can expect, so this top surface will going to get the angular displacement, the bottom will remain as is. So on the top surface it will going to get an angular displacement. So again here this is going to get the angular displacement. Okay, this will be like this. Now if you can join all these points like this, you will get the change in the particular angle. So this is the angle. If you can go here, the red line will be like this. Okay, and here the new line, somewhat we got some angular displacement. This has theta. So we are considering this as a shearing angle. Okay, now here if you consider this as some x or L, you can take it as L here. Take this as L, and here let me go with another color. I will take this color here. Now this is the displacement you got here, the angular displacement. So consider this as some delta L. Okay, some angular, due to the angular displacement here, you got a certain length here, change in the length. So here, okay, the thing is that about tangential stress by shearing strain. Okay, tangent, this is known as a tangent. Okay, tangential stress. Now what actually tangent means? If you can go with a circle, okay, tangent can be drawn on the top, I mean touching this particular point. Okay, you are not going inside, it is touching on the surface, just like this. Okay, similarly here also, if you are having the material, okay, if you are having the material like this, now you are not going to apply the force that is going inside, but you are going to apply the force on the top, like this only. Okay, now if you can see the sponge, if you are having a sponge, like this, okay, now at the bottom there is no force applied. Okay, now if you apply a force on the top, okay, then what happens? The sponge will move like this. There will be angular displacement. The bottom remain as it is. There is no change at the bottom, but on the top you are going to get a shearing strain. Okay, somewhat like this. So if you consider the initial direction and the final direction, so there is some angular displacement theta. So if you want, you can take the triangle here. You can take a triangle here. So this is 90 degrees. If you can redraw the diagram like this, okay, redraw the diagram. So this is a new line. So here this is a shearing angle. Now this is a length L, and this is the change in the length L. Now this particular theta can be given as tan theta. If you consider tan theta, you will get this as delta L by L. Okay, this side by this side. Okay, so if the theta value is very less, if it is very less, okay, then you can write tan theta is approximately equal to theta. Under what conditions? If this particular angle is very small, okay, then you can consider directly theta. Okay, so here it is shearing strain. Okay, so directly you can write this as the shearing strain theta, or else you can write this as delta L by L. You can substitute anything. Okay, now what is the remaining part here? It is rigidity modulus is given as eta. It is equals to force applied per unit area by delta L by L. The same thing here. I wrote like this. Okay, I wrote this. Or else you can write theta. You can write this as theta, anything. Okay, but as we are going to measure in terms of centimeters, if you are considering theta, it will be some radians. Okay, but here let us take this as the length here. Okay, then what you can write here, F by A into L by delta L. So you can have the same thing, A into delta L. Okay, so this is a rigidity modulus. Okay, now these were the things yesterday we had seen. Okay, so where we had started, we started with the Hooke's law. Hooke's law states that stress is proportional to strain. Okay, first point. The second thing is that you need to consider the elastic limit, only under elastic limit. Now here, if you remove the proportionality, you are going to get a constant. We are going to consider this as the elastic modulus. Here it is known as the elastic modulus. Elastic modulus. Okay. Now, what we did here, we are finding what type of stress we are applying. For different types of stress as they are available, we are going to get those strains separately. Okay, stress and strains. Okay, and we are going to give different modulus. So this was modulus given by Young, the scientist Young. So that's why you are going to consider it as the Young's modulus. Okay. Now similarly here, if you apply the volumetric stress, you are going to get the volumetric strain, and that's why you are going to consider this as a bulk modulus. Okay. And similarly, the remaining is about the tensile stress by shearing strain. We are going to consider this as the rigidity modulus. And here the symbol is eta. Okay. So now let us see the continuation of this topic. What are the factors that are going to affect? Factors affecting elasticity. Okay, and tensile strength. Okay. Now here, what you can assume, if you can take the rubber, okay, take a rubber here. Take rubber. Consider this as a rubber. Now under room temperature, okay, I am giving a condition here. Under room temperature, first condition, temperature. Room temperature means let us take it as some 28 degrees centigrade or else some near to 30 degrees centigrade at room temperature. First condition. Okay. Now second condition I am applying. Now I am going to increase the temperature. I will make this as some 60 degrees centigrade or else some 80 degrees centigrade. Okay. I had increased the temperature, higher temperature. higher temperature. Okay, now what you can expect, if you consider at room temperature, the behavior of rubber will be different if it is considered higher degrees temperatures. Okay, what is the reason here? This rubber is going to melt somewhat, okay, at this particular 60 degrees or 80 degrees. Okay, so that's why whatever the elastic property is there at room temperature, okay, at room temperature there will be some different elastic property, and at higher temperature that property will not be similar. Those properties will change. Properties in the change means it will not withstand, okay, when compared with that of room temperature. Suppose if you hang a rubber band like this, let us assume like this, this has some rubber band you are hanging, okay, you are hanging here, and at the bottom here let us place some 10 kgs, okay, weight, 10 kg weight. Now consider this is at some 30 degrees centigrade at room temperature. Now take the same rubber band, okay, now you try to heat this particular temperature, I mean increase the temperature, okay, and let us go up to some 80 degrees centigrade. Then what happens? In this case, suppose due to the application of this weight, there is some elongation. Let us consider the rubber band has got elongated, and initially let us consider initially some 10 centimeters length is there, initial length, and due to this mass and at 30 degrees centigrade, let us assume there is some elongation and it reached some 15 centimeters. Now here I am placing the same 10 centimeter rubber band, okay, same mass, same 10 kg mass, but what I am doing, I am increasing the temperature. Then what you can expect, this rubber band may get elongated beyond 15 centimeters, and it may go, okay, for example I am taking, it may go up to some 20 centimeters. Okay, what I did here, I placed the same rubber band, the length is, original length is some 10 centimeters is same, okay, here it is 10 centimeters, it is 10 centimeters, and here the mass applied is 10 kilogram, and here the same 10 kilogram. But what I changed here, I had increased the temperature from 30 degrees to 80 degrees. Then this particular rubber band will melt, okay, somewhat, not exactly. Internally some properties will change, okay, due to that what happens, the elongation will increase automatically, okay, you are going to get extra elongation. Okay, so now what is the thing you need to consider? The elasticity, or else this particular tensile strength will be going to affect by means of temperature. Okay, so temperature is going to affect the elastic property or else this particular tensile strength. Okay, so that you are going to mention it as effect of temperature. Effect of temperature. Okay, the first property. So due to that, what is going on here? The internal elastic property okay, not exactly. If I go with 80 degrees centigrade, it may not melt. But internally, so microscopically it may melt. If I go with some 150 degrees centigrade, okay, or else some 200 degrees centigrade, okay, then you can see that this rubber, which is actually solid, okay, which is actually at solid state. Now, if I increase the temperature some up to some 200 degrees centigrade, then you can see that some molten state you can find. Molten state. అంటే ఎట్లా అంటే వ్యాక్స్ ఉంటుంది కదా, వ్యాక్స్ని కొంచెం వేడి చేశారనుకోండి ఎలా ఉంటుంది మీకు, వ్యాక్స్ని వేడి చేస్తే ఎలా ఉంటుంది, అలా అట్లా అయ్యే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది కదా. ఓకే, టెంపరేచర్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేస్తూ వెళ్తే మీరు ఇంకా తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది, లిక్విడ్ ఫామ్ అవ్వచ్చు, ఇక్కడ లిక్విడ్ లాగా రావచ్చు. ఓకే, సో జస్ట్ యూ నీడ్ టు కన్సిడర్ ఓన్లీ దిస్ ఫ్యాక్టర్. Temperature is one of the factor that is going to affect the elasticity. Okay. Now similarly, second factor is what? Let us take one example to understand that. Now take gold. Now while preparing the ornaments, okay, if you are going to give the order to get your ornaments, then that particular goldsmith, okay, what he is going to do, he might add copper, okay, or else cadmium. If you can see here, cadmium, okay. So these metals he is going to add inside the gold. So what is the reason here? If you take pure gold, so it will not be stronger. It is not stronger. Okay, it is not stronger, and you can break it very easily. Okay. Now if you add the impurity, this is the impure atom, okay, or the impure metal here, and here also this is the impure metal. If this is pure gold, okay, suppose if you are going to get some water, take some water inside this, okay, so take some water here, okay. Now if you add small amount of chemical, then what happens? It is not pure water. Initially it was pure water, but if you add certain chemical externally, now it is not pure water. Okay, what you can say here, the chemical is some impurity, you are adding some impurity. Okay, similarly if you consider gold, pure gold here, okay, if you are adding some copper or else cadmium, you will consider this as the impurity. You are adding the impurity to the pure metal. Then what is the reason here? Now if you add the impurity to the gold here, now this gold will become stronger. It will become stronger. Okay. So now what is the effect you can mention here? It is the effect of impurity. So due to the addition of impurities, the elastic property or the mechanical properties will change. Okay. So whatever the small quantities you are going to add to the original material, okay, that is going to result in the change. What type of changes you can expect? It is regarding the mechanical properties. Mechanical in the sense, here I mentioned it as the strength. The strength will be increasing. Okay, so that is one of the effect that you are going to consider here. So here the first one is the effect of temperature. Second one is the effect of impurity. Okay, now let us see other effects. Okay, now the next effect we are going to see, the effect of hammering. If you hammer the objects, what you can expect? There will be some change in the properties. So effect of hammering. If you roll the objects, again also you can have the change in the properties. Okay, so that are going to affect. Next thing is about annealing. We will call this as the annealing. Okay, what is the meaning of this means? The meaning of this is, first you will heat to higher temperature. Okay, heat the substance to high temperatures. Okay. Next, after heating up to certain high temperature, now reduce the temperature. Nothing but you cool that one. Okay, that process is known as annealing. Okay, you are heating the substance to high temperatures. After heating, you slowly reduce the temperature, or else you try to cool slowly. So that process is known as annealing. Okay, so this particular thing will going to change the properties, the elastic property of the material. and the strength of the material. Okay, so if you hammer a particular substance, then also the property will change. If you roll, if this comes under the hammering process also, the rolling of the substance will also result in the change in the elasticity. So here annealing means heating to high temperatures, okay, and thereafter you are cooling that one slowly. So this also will reduce the, or it is going to affect the elastic property or else the tensile strength. Okay, now what are the other things? Okay, let me check here. I had provided certain facts here. So here we had seen about the effect of impurities. Now here the nature of the crystal. Now how can you give this effect, nature of the crystal? Now let us take one example. Now here if you go the microscopical concept, if you consider a solid, okay, you let us take this as a diagram, solid here. This is a macroscopical concept. This is macroscopical diagram, macroscopic, okay, higher value, okay. This you can see with your eyes, okay, but internally what you can expect, okay, internally what you can expect. I'm enlarging the diagram and I'm going to draw the microscopical point of the concept that I had mentioned in the previous class also. Now a solid can be made of, okay, atoms or molecules, okay. So if you go up to the atoms and molecules, we will consider it as a microscopical concept. Now inside you are going to have the atoms like this, okay. Now here what is the thing you are going to explain is that if you are having only single arrangement like this, if the solid is having only single arrangement like this, then we are going to consider it as a single crystal, okay. If the arrangement is similar throughout the entire crystal, then we are going to consider this as a single crystal. Suppose if a solid is there, okay, and it is having certain small regions like this, and here the atoms will be somewhat like this in this region, in this small region like this, okay, and here the atoms are like this, okay, and somewhat in this region some other direction, some changes are there, they are randomly oriented, okay, some changes are there, and here some other direction, somewhat like this, okay. So these small regions we call those as the grains. These are known as the grains, okay, or else we will consider this the entire solid, okay, as a polycrystal, okay, polycrystal here, polycrystal, or multiple structures are there internally, you are having multiple structures, okay. So that's why you are going to consider the crystals, okay, the nature of the crystals here. What are the natures here? Either you can expect single crystal or else polycrystals. Single crystal means the entire substance will have only single orientation. The atoms and the molecules will be oriented with a single orientation, single type of orientation. Now what about polycrystal here? They are having small regions. So these small regions will have similar orientation. But when compared with the one, let us consider here grain 1, okay, and grain 2. So the orientation here it is different with that of the second grain. Okay, now those crystals are known as the polycrystals. So this is going to result or effect in the change of the elastic property. Okay, now what else? Let us see here. Okay, now we had seen about the annealing, as well as we had seen about hammering, annealing, hammering, okay, and rolling. Okay, next we had seen the effect of temperature, we had seen about the impurities, and here the nature of the crystal and stress. Now regarding stress, what you can expect? Suppose an object is there, okay, some material is there. Now here you try to drop some load. Let us take some 10 kgs load, okay, some 10 kg load you are dropping onto the material. Okay, nothing but you are applying a stress here. You are applying a stress here. Now continue to drop this particular 10 kg weight on the material several times. Okay, if you continue to drop, then what you can expect? This material will undergo certain changes. Okay, then it results in the change in the elastic property. Okay, the elasticity of this particular material will change if you continue to do this process. If you are applying a stress continuously, okay, then what you can expect? There is a change that can occur regarding the elastic property or else the tensile strength. So that is the thing here, the effect of stress. Stress is nothing but load. Load is nothing but force applied per unit area. So depending on the load, as you had seen in the previous explanation, okay. So you are seeing about the diagram here, stress and strain. Okay, as stress increases, okay, the property is going to change that you had seen in the yesterday's class. Okay, so that is a thing you are considering here, effect of stress. So here what we had seen here, the topic of the factors affecting on elasticity and tensile strength. So what are the factors here? Stress, next annealing, hammering, rolling. So what is the meaning of annealing here? Annealing means heating to high temperatures. You are going to heat to high temperatures. Okay. Thereafter, what you are doing? You are cooling. Okay. After reaching the high temperatures, you are cooling it slowly. That is the process known as the annealing. So this is going to affect the elasticity as well as the tensile strength here. Now, again the change in the temperature. Next, the presence of impurities in the metal or the material here. Next, the nature of the crystals. Now regarding the nature of the crystals, you are considering the crystals as single crystals or else you are having polycrystals. Okay, so what is the meaning of single crystal here? Single crystal means inside the crystal you are having only single orientation. The atoms or molecules will be oriented only in a single format. There is only one type of format available. Then those are known as the single crystals. What about polycrystals here? Inside polycrystals, you will have small regions. Okay, in the small regions, the orientations will be different. The orientations will be different. Okay, so that's why we are considering these as the polycrystals. These as polycrystals. Okay, so that is about the factors affecting elasticity and the tensile strength. Okay, if you are having any doubts regarding this, you can raise your hands or else you can send in the chat box. Okay, 168. Okay, I had unmuted you. 168. I had unmuted 168. If you want, you can speak. I am not getting any voice from your side. Or else you can send in the chat box. Okay, then let us see introduction for the next topic. I will give the introduction for the next topic. Okay, next topic is about the torsional pendulum actually. Torsional pendulum. Now, regarding this topic, we need to find few more points. Okay, that I will give the introduction for the topic. Now, before going to see about this pendulum, we need to find what is the meaning of torsion. Okay, now let us take a bottle. Take a bottle. This as a bottle. Consider this as a bottle. Now here you are having a cap. Let us assume you are having a cap. Here this is a cap for this bottle. Now here I will ask a question. You try to give the answer. So this is a cap here. Cap for the bottle here. It is on the bottle. Now if you want to remove this cap, what you are going to do? How many forces are required? Is it only one force? Okay, only one force is required, or else you are going to apply two forces or three forces or more than three. Can you give the answer? Question is, this is a bottle. This is a bottle here. Okay. Now you are having a cap on this bottle. You need to remove the cap. The question is, how many forces you are going to apply? Is it a single force, or you are going to apply 2, 3 or more than that? Can you give the answer in the chat box? How many forces are required? You need to remove the cap of your water bottle. Consider it as a water bottle. If you want to remove the cap of your water bottle, how many forces are required? I had given the options. Only 1, 2, 3 or more than that. Okay, 171 said 1 force. Okay, what about others? Okay, 101, 2 forces. Okay, any more answers? You need to remove the cap of your water bottle. Consider this as your water bottle. Okay, remove your cap, this particular cap of your bottle. So how many forces are there? How many forces? How many number of forces are required? That is a question. Okay, 138 said 1, 103 more. Okay, just simple concept there. Okay, removing the cap of your water bottle. Removing the cap. Removing the cap means you can assume. So how you are going to remove? How many fingers you are going to utilize there? Minimum. How many fingers you are going to utilize? In general. Or else I can give one more concept. Okay, similar concept. Now here there is a screw. Some screw is there, somewhat like this. Somewhat like this screw is there. Okay, assume this as a screw. Screw is there. Now somewhat assume this as a screw. Now if you want to remove this particular screw, okay, with your spanner, consider this as a spanner. spanner here. Okay, this is as a spanner here. Okay, this is a screw. Okay, or else the bolt. Bolt, you can consider anything. Bolt. Okay, which is fixed inside another object. Okay, 174 said 2. 2 for what? This is the first question here, first question. This is the second question. Question number 2. Question number 1. Okay, question number 2. Now here, how many forces are applied to remove the bolt or screw? First question 2. Okay. First question is 2. Okay. Now, any more answers? So I got some 2 forces. 101 said 2 forces. 171 said 1 force. 103. Okay, 138 1 and 103 3. Okay. Now see here. Regarding this particular spanner, if you can see, if you have only this part, consider this as A, this as B. Okay, if spanner has only this part, only if A is there, okay, A cannot remove this bolt. A cannot do the work. Then you need to apply the second one. Okay, at a time, the screw should be given somewhat like this, somewhat. Okay, not exact diagram. Now here you are going to apply 2 forces. Okay, let us go with this. Okay, so this is 1 force, this is 1 force, second force here. So now here, if you can check the same process here regarding the first explanation, you are going to apply here. Let us take another color. Okay. Now this side you will apply 1 finger and this side 1 finger. Okay, now can you check your answer? Can you check your answer? Now how many forces are required? Is it 2 or not? I am saying it as 2. So in this case, A depending on this, B depending on this. Okay, so answer here it is 2 forces. Okay, now here removing this 1 finger you are going to place here, second finger you are going to place here. Okay, so you are going to apply 2 forces. Now whether the answer is correct or not. I am saying the answer as 2. Now have you got the idea? Spanner is going to apply 2 forces. Okay, and regarding the water bottle, we are going to apply 2 forces at a time to remove the cap. Okay, 174 said yes. Okay, now here we are going to utilize 2 forces at a time. Okay, we are going to use 2 forces at a time. If you can see, if this is the cap, if this is the cap here, now you are going to rotate the cap. You are going to rotate the cap like this. Okay, we are going to rotate the cap. Okay, now for rotation here consider F1 and F2. So this is the cap here. Cap is going to get rotated to remove or placing the cap. Requirement is 2 different forces. Okay, now here actually the thing is that F1 and F2 will be equal, the same amount of force you are applying, but they are opposite to each other. Okay, so F1 is equal to F2, but here if you can see the arrow marks, these two are in opposite directions. So this is the thing you are going to consider in this concept, torsion. Okay, now regarding the torsional pendulum, you are going to construct a pendulum Okay, so how the pendulum will look like, let us see here, just the introduction. This we will continue in the next class. Okay, so here we are going to construct a pendulum. So pendulum will have a material. Consider this as a wire. Okay, this is a material you are going to consider. This is the material. Okay, now here we are going to apply the load. This is a load. Okay, consider this as a disk. Okay, this is a load here, or else the stress here. This is a stress. Okay, it is a disk here, considered as load, or else it has a stress. Okay, now where is the strain? Strain is going to be experienced by the wire. Okay, strain is going to be experienced by the wire. So the material we are going to consider in the form of wire in this particular concept. Material, whatever the material, either it is steel, copper, or aluminium, whatever it may be, the material will be taken in the form of wire, and the load is due to the disk. Okay, so load is nothing but the disk here, and this load is nothing but the stress. So you are having the stress by means of the disk here. Okay, and the strain is going to be experienced by the wire. Okay, so now here, if I want to get the oscillations, what I will do means I will apply two equal and opposite forces. I will try to rotate this. Okay, I will apply a force here and another force in this direction. So if you take a circle, okay, if you draw a line like this, then we are considering this as a tangent. It is a tangent, and here the second force is there. Again, it is on the same path. Whatever the thing first one is there, the second one is same. So it is also a tangential force. Tangential force. Okay, tangential force. Okay, now the same thing here, you are applying two equal and opposite forces. Both are equal, but they are opposite. Due to this, what you can expect, if you can mark here, okay, you mark here at equilibrium. Without application of the force, you consider a dot is there. A dot is there. You mark a dot. And if you apply the force and you try to find, the dot is moving somewhere here. Okay, less than some 45 degrees. Less than 45 degrees. Okay, the dot has moved. So until then you apply the force. Now if the dot moved to this next second position here, 0.1 and 0.2. Okay, now you remove the forces. Remove the forces. Then what you can expect, this disk, okay, which is hanged, okay, will try to oscillate. The dot is there, okay, to try to observe the dot. You had moved the dot to somewhere here, and you had removed the forces. Then what you can expect, this disk will start oscillating like this. It will go here and it will come back. Okay, like this. It will move in to and fro motions. Okay, so due to that, what you are going to consider, you are going to experience the oscillations. You are going to get the oscillations. Okay, so if you are having to and fro motions, then we are going to consider those as the oscillations, and the arrangement will be considered as a pendulum. The arrangement will be considered as pendulum. Okay, now this pendulum is depending on the torsion. Torsion in the sense two forces, two equal and opposite forces. So that's why we are going to consider this as a torsion, torsional pendulum. Okay, so why you are going to get this particular oscillations? That is the question here. The question will be like this. Okay, why you are going to experience the oscillations? Okay, that you need to answer. We try to give the answer in the tomorrow's class. Okay, so I am repeating the question here. You are taking a material. Okay, we are considering a material here. Material is in the form of wire. Okay, material either it may be steel, okay, copper or aluminium, whatever it may be. We are considering it is in the form of wire. Now you are going to hang a mass, okay, at the second end, and first end is going to be fixed at the wall, okay, with some hanger is there. Okay, now the question is, if you apply two equal and opposite forces, And if you remove that, okay, if you remove that, then why you are going to get the oscillations? That is a question. If you want to try, you can try and give me the answer in the tomorrow's class. Okay, now here it is already 7 minutes past 3. So if you are having any doubts, you can express either here itself or tomorrow, or else you can the WhatsApp. Okay, group is there. Okay, there also you can express your doubts. Someone is there. Okay, 168. Actually, I had unmuted you, but I didn't got any response from your side. Okay, it is already unmuted. Okay, now today I'm ending the class, and tomorrow we will meet.